Hello, I am Andrew Solorio. I'm recording for my Project 3 assignment. I'm going to go down the list how I usually do by slowly explaining what I've done with my programming and my little project here, which I've updated. I was originally going to do a new little project, but it, no, no, just that's all I'm saying. It didn't turn out good. So I thought I'd just update my previous one, which I like so far. So it wasn't that hard to really implement the code. So I guess I'll start with the one I can show you, which is the InkSync Score Saver. I've written down overall mainly what it does, but basically it's connected to the UI manager and subscribed to the Player on Coin Collected system, which we did talk about the whole subscription server pattern on the previous assignment. But here, similar to the UI manager, the AC Score Saver is subscribed to it, and it basically saves the score of how many the player gets. It saves the total amount into the debug log. So it calls upon the async method when a coin is collected. The private async test the save score. It awaits, so it basically pauses the method only for temporarily. It doesn't freeze the game. The game continues. I'll show once I run the game. And other scripts like the movement camera, etc., keep running, so on and so forth. And Unity continues running frames normally. So it, it just basically it doesn't stop the game from running. And then after this wait delay, it will then show the debug log of the score saved and how much, and then update the UI here on the UI manager, which we've updated with the async manager or async saver. So with the programming running, when we go to a coin, you see on the bottom left saving. It saves the amount of coins we got here in the debug log, how many coins we have obtained. It saves the score. We got 1, 2 every time you touch a coin. So it just listens to the on coin collection event, the unsubscribed one disabled, and just allows the on trigger event to sync up together with the program, making sure that there are no errors and nothing is being overridden or overlapping. So make sure every score is accounted for, every coin is accounted for, which, yeah, there is a UI manager here, but this just makes sure, at least inside the program, it is also saved. I guess next, which I don't really have a visual for, would be the explanations for the multi-threading and the race conditions. I probably should start with the multi-threading because now the async portion seems a bit odd. But multi-threading is usually when a program does multiple things at the same time. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Multi-threading is when a program does multiple things at the same time, whether it be rendering or things in the background or audio. Small stuff like that. The things you don't really see or focus on. And with the async score saver, we use the multi-threading and allow the scores to sync up and make sure the thread is basically not, what's the word? It's not tip of my tongue, but not to bundle up or to screw up and make a whole error an issue. But that's basically what multi-threading is. It's when a program does multiple things at one time. But what you can do with multi-threading is you can make certain threads sleep, similar to the coin, similar to the coin spawner, how we yield and return. You can sleep a thread, and it will force that little program thread to pause, and then you can have a separate thread program. Let's say, I guess for this mental example, you have a program that is loading basically the camera and the world and the assets. So you have that go on, but you don't want the camera to turn on in time yet because you don't want to show everything loading. Then it'll kind of break the immersion. So in this example, you will sleep the thread that shows the camera, so you make the camera basically turn off, and it'll keep the loading screen going basically. And you wait until all assets are loaded in, and then at the end of that, you would have a join thread, and that will then awaken the previously slept camera thread, quote unquote camera thread, and then the screen will load. It will show the camera, it will show the world, and everything's loaded. And that's I should have written. I should have made an example, but that's basically how I see it in my mind. Basically, you make one portion of a program stop, make something else load that is necessary for the previous program to work. You then awaken the previously slept program, and then everything works together. Okay, next is race conditions. Race conditions is connected with multi-threading. Is when multi-threading when some of the threads overlap. So I guess a good example would be my coins. You know how I'm hit multiple coins at the same time, 1, 2, or 3, and usually very quickly, almost at the same time I hit 2 or 3 coins. For what race conditions basically does, or at least assists in doing, it makes sure that the threads don't overlap and makes 1 or 2 coins unaccounted for. So I make sure all the coins are accounted for with race conditions. So I can speak. I need to make like a script. I feel that helps far more. What you would do would be to lock the object, make it a specific object, and it'll run that little execution pass. It'll guarantee that it counted said 1 coin, and then it'll go on to the next one. But the issue with locking an object, at least in the thread, it makes the program run slower because threads have to basically queue up in the DMB line and then slowly be accounted for. So basically, a race condition, I guess, to name in terms, race conditions conflict when overshared data tracks, and then the lock fixes it, but it's like basically the lock is like a bodyguard, and a bunch of people are coming in, but the bodyguard is like, hey, show me a picture ID. They check the ID, and then let that one come in, and then the next one. But now, not everyone can go in at the same time. So now you, who was at the front and your friends at the back, you gotta wait for everyone else to be accounted for, and then he will be let in. So in this case, it would make the program slower, and the little bodyguard joke, it would make the party go slower. But that's why I have here the async coin saver, score saver. So the race condition isn't really, not, I wouldn't say unnecessary, but it won't slow down the program. I hope that should be everything. I hope I explained everything well. If something is wrong, please let me know. I'll fix it as soon as possible. And yeah, that's it. Bye.